Now run.
Okay.
uh,
Oh God, what have I done? Hold on.
this is not a way to start this.
I know. Oreo. Okay. I'm Emily.
Okay, hold on, back up. Do that again.
I'm Emily.
I'm Chelsea. This is
Mom
more
needs
than
a
a
minute.
minute.
Yeah. Seriously though.
I need
All
like
right,
a
Chelsea.
week.
Seriously.
Oh,
Why?
cat hair on there. I wonder why.
Why do you need a whole week?
It's just that season. Christmas,
Yeah.
birthdays, all of that, and I'm just so wiped. Traveling, I swear oh my god, it's been so busy.
It's exhausting, isn't it?
It is, and it's like I come home from work and I don't want to do anything.
Yeah. I feel ya. Same.
Yeah.
Well, I have only been back at work for a few days, but
Yeah.
I'm ready for Christmas break again.
I don't even get a Christmas break.
Man, oh man.
I need one. I need an entire week where I just lay in my bed and literally do nothing, talk to the cats.
Me too, but I just want to do that for fun.
I want to do that for my mental health, but then again, do I really want the cats around because I feel like they're problems?
No, they're so snuggly.
Mm.
Like this guy right here. Oh, where'd he go? There he is. Look at that boy.
Until he's done doing that and decides to tear up the entire area.
Well, then he's going to get kicked out. So.
There is that.
He's resting up right now currently, I think, because we brought the Christmas tree in tonight.
Okay. And what does he do with the Christmas tree?
Oh, so he can just tear it back down after we get it set up.
Yeah. We had, this year, since we don't have Nolan on Christmas, we got like a little tiny guy just to put Christmas presents under.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Meatloaf thought that was his tree. This is his tree.
I'm afraid that's what Oreo is going to do here.
Yeah, probably. Meatloaf did that last year, but it was so big compared to this one that it didn't really do anything. This one he just freaking knocks over.
Yeah.
So we had to put weights on the bottom. But yeah. And Sassy was scared of it because it had a Santa hat as the topper. So we took the hat off and now she's fine.
Oh. We're going to put a Santa hat on ours, I think, this year.
Yeah, but you don't have a Sassy, so you'll be fine. And I do, like I said, with the tree, Meatloaf climbed it last year and didn't really do anything.
I have this guy.
Yeah, but he's not going to be...
Can you hear him purring?
He's so mad at you.
I picked him up off his blanket. Could you hear him purring?
Yeah. He had an empty meow.
Yeah, just angry eyes.
No, they'll just climb the tree. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm afraid that he's going to knock it over and light the house on fire.
I thought that too, but those things are a lot sturdier than you think.
Mm-hmm.
Meatloaf, like, ran at it.
We're setting it up right next to the fireplace, though, which is just asking for a problem, I think.
No.
But
no.
It is.
Yeah, I feel like you have more thoughts of what could happen than what's actually going to happen.
Well,
eventually they give up with it.
That's anxiety for you.
I'm just trying to help. I've been there. Meatloaf is a terrorist and a half, and he just liked to sit in the tree, and then it didn't go any further than that.
Yeah. I think once we get it up and he gets bored of it, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Just watch out for him eating it. BK was eating ours, and wow, that was great.
I did have to pull him off the plastic or the tape from the box though, because I was like, "Stop eating tape, dude."
Oh yeah.
But no, No, we have to just keep causing problems.
As usual.
All the
As
time.
usual. Cats are fun.
Mm-hmm. He's our little problem.
He is a
He's our problem
hellion.
child.
He reminds me so much of Meatloaf, though. Like, Meatloaf has tamed down a Tish, but he was a lot like Oreo. Just zero shits. I'm gonna jump up here and knock all this off. I'm gonna beg for your attention, and then I'm gonna get mad at you for giving me attention. Then I'm gonna chase you all over the place.
Yeah, this morning at like 4:00, he like sticks his freezing cold little nose in my face and won't leave me alone until I like petted him. So I'm like sleeping, and I just unstick my hand out just enough to like, and then I squish it back under my blanket and curl back in, and that wasn't enough, so we had to do it again. And then finally, it wasn't enough again, and so I just like scriggled him and got as many scratches onto him as I could before he got fed up and he ran away from me. But then he also pissed Myrtle off, who obviously always sleeps in our bedroom or in our bed with me. So it was just.
How's the furnace coming?
Well, it's gonna be quite a fix, and it's gonna be 3.5 weeks because the part that they need is back ordered.
Oh man. Hey, we can freeze together. Except our heat is supposedly working, so at least you have an excuse.
Yeah. So we've been using the fireplace a lot in the last few days so far.
I believe that. When do you think it broke?
Not sure. I have no idea. I don't know. Patrick has been complaining about it for. Well, he had it scheduled for them to come and look at it before we went on vacation, so it had to have been probably just recently, since it started to kick in, with it just recently getting colder.
Well, when you guys were gone, it was freezing, so whenever we went into your house, it felt good because it was so cold outside, so I guess I didn't notice.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. So it's been chilly. So the fireplace, the boys both got new space heaters for their bedrooms yesterday.
Merry Christmas!
Yeah, your Christmas presents are a vacation and a space heater. Yay!
Ooh, yeah. I like myself a good space heater. I got one right now.
I know. I came into my craft room and I turned mine on like an hour before we sat down because it was cold in here. Or like an hour and a half, I guess, because it was cold in here.
Yeah. Nolan's room is like freaking ice cold. He has to sleep on a heated blanket.
Maverick has stolen my heat pad too and is currently, well, not currently, but is sleeping on it lately.
Yeah. There's not much else you can freaking do though.
Yeah.
We don't like to have the space heater going unless we're like in there. And Nolan's room scares me because I don't want something to happen in his room, and then, the whole anxiety thing again. Yeah.
You're gonna fall off the couch, buddy bear.
Friggin' North Dakota winters are not for the weak.
Seriously.
They're apparently really cheap, shitty apartment buildings. 0 to 10.
One way or the other. One way or the other.
Wow. Yeah, so that's been fun.
Yeah, I love winter so much. It's so much fun.
Yeah, well, speaking of not winter, how was your vacation?
Oh, it was good. It was so good. When we got home and on Monday when we were driving into town to take the boys to, when I was driving into town to take the boys to school, Bentley goes, "Who wants to go back to Cancun?" Maverick and I both just go, "Us!" Like me.
Oh, man.
It was like 80 degrees and sunny the entire time we were there. Like, look, my nose is still kind of burnt. My cheek and my forehead looks kind of warm too, but yeah.
Yeah, you guys missed some nasty weather though.
Honestly, it sounds like we left at the perfect time.
Yeah, you really did.
Mm-hmm.
But then now you got hit with this, but it's definitely not as bad as it was when you were gone at
Thank
all.
God.
This is nothing. It was a cold, the cold freezing wind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
The one that just
And
cuts
then like the
straight to your
roads.
core.
Yep. And then it freezes like over the roads, even though, yeah. Great. Fun times. Yeah. So while you guys are basking in the sun, the rest of us were praying to God that we didn't freeze.
I brought you a present, though.
Well, apparently Patrick's not going to give that to us anymore anyway.
Well, we still haven't found all of them.
Ah.
Although I think we're getting close because Trista said that she had hid 99 of those tiny little plastic ducks in my house. And I think we have 89 of them. We have a landing zone. We have a landing zone in our house for when we find them. They have to go and sit with the other ducks and think about what they've done.
So then you know.
Mm-hmm. There are 2 in my
Tana
car.
helped, so.
Oh, yeah. Patrick turned on the security camera footage last night or Sunday when we were sitting at home when we realized that they were all over the place, and he watched them together.
I
Yeah.
hope you guys didn't watch us because there's a lot of.
No, he was only looking for and the only reason he was looking at it was because he wanted to see if they had gone out into the shop. So if he had to go out and search the shop,
They probably didn't know they could get in there.
they were in the shop. Oh yeah.
Oh, were they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they hid some in my car.
Oh, I thought your car was in the garage, but we didn't really. I mean, I didn't go out to the chickens. I made the boys do that. I was not about that life.
I don't really go out there in the winter either. I make the boys do that
Nope.
too. And they're my damn chicken.
Like, it's like you guys have winter clothes. I have $20 boots from Amazon. Bye.
Staying inside, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that our roosters are maybe gonna not see next week pretty soon here. They're being pretty big assholes lately.
Why? I mean, they're really loud and we were there, so I guess I don't. And I wasn't out there.
I don't think they're too I don't think they're too loud. They're just being really like they're just being really like kind of vicious to the girls.
Do you think it's because they can't really do anything now that it's so cold? They can't move out of like the, they got a small area to work with.
It could be, yeah, it could be, but I don't know. So they're gonna be soup, I think, pretty soon.
Yeah, you really didn't want them anyway. You're not trying to make more chickens.
No, I mean, I knew like from I don't know, we got them, and then like maybe 3 days later, I was like, oh, this is a rooster. Like I picked them out pretty quick, so I knew we were gonna have some, and I really haven't minded them much, but if they're gonna like be violent towards the other like the girls, my hens,
well, yeah, because
sorry boys,
you were aiming for chicken, so it's not like you're gonna be losing much of anything by that.
No, and we only have 3 of them, and I don't know, we've got, 25 chickens total?
I don't know.
We'll still have more than 20.
According to Trista, they are dinosaurs, so.
Well, they are.
No,
Chickens
she
are
was
dinosaurs.
very concerned about the size of them.
Yeah, they are pretty big.
Yeah, I was like...
Mm-hmm. They are getting pretty big. Or they are, I guess they're fully grown now, but yeah, they're pretty big birds.
Yeah,
And the red one, we have one red one, we have one white one, and then we've got kind of a black tan one. And the red one, he is the menace of all menaces. The other 2 are mostly fine. They're still assholes, but they're mostly fine. But it's that red one that will fuck your shit up. When we were trying to clip their wings, I had like a 6-inch scratch on my ribs from where I was like, because I had to. Well, I had to be. Patrick was clipping their wings, and and the boys we didn't want the boys to get scratched, so obviously I'm the one that has to get back there and corner this big angry motherfucker. into a corner and pick him up and try to carry him. Well, he was obviously not pleased with that. I don't blame him. He was the last one. He saw what we had done to all their friends. But I did. I had like a 6-inch
I
long
believe it.
scratch
Their
down my
talons
ribs.
are
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't blame him. That one wasn't him being particularly mean. We had come into his space and we were fucking with everybody. Yeah. And he didn't like that. So I don't really blame him for that.
Yeah.
But he's definitely, the red one is definitely the meanest one. But he's so pretty, though. He's so pretty.
Pretty ones are always the mean ones.
So I'm a little bummed. Seems like that, yeah.
That's why I'm so nice.
That's how Lola is, too. I was going to say, I don't think that works for people, though, because, wow, am I mean.
No, you're not.
But.
No. Nope.
I'm shocked that you, after all of, how many years have we been friends, that you're still like, no, she's fine, she's nice. How many times have you heard me threaten the life of somebody else? In various ways.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're also a lot more nice than you are mean.
Well, thanks. I'm going to take that as a compliment.
Well, you should, because it's not like you're not a terrible person.
No. I don't think mean isn't like that. I think like cut you real deep to the core and make you feel terrible about yourself kind of mean.
But you'd only do that if it was like necessary.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, I have no problem doing that.
See, I'd probably do it to anybody who just cut me off on the street or something.
Oh my god, speaking of, I almost got sideswiped or like T-boned today in the Walmart parking lot.
Hey, I was at Walmart at the same time as you, by the way, but I had to get back to my stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why were you at Walmart?
I needed to get...
Why did you see me and I didn't see you?
I saw your car.
Oh.
I needed to return a pair of Nolan's pants that I bought him. I wanted him to have nice pants for his program tomorrow, and yeah. Anyway, back to your story.
Oh no, I went and did some Christmas shopping. I was trying to finish up, and yeah, as I was like leaving, I was going to work, and all of a sudden this guy, I was like, there's no way. He's not actually going to, like, he's gonna see me. No. And he like, well, I mean, he was like this, like literally inches. Granted, but, and I was like blaring up my horn, and I was like, you have to fucking see me. I'm bright red, and you're inches away from my gigantic metal bar in front of me. Like, you're gonna do a lot more damage to you than you are to me.
Yeah.
Because he was like, I have that massive metal bar.
Yeah.
In the front, that iron bar or whatever, and I was like, buddy, your little Subaru is not gonna really be very happy with you in a minute.
It's always the Subarus.
Head, my car is bright fucking red. Like,
I swear, once the snow flies and it gets cold, certain people just lose their brain. Like, it falls out of their ear and just sits there until it warms up. I don't know. But the driving skills in this town is just like...
It's horrendous.
And I mean, I'm not a perfect driver. I'm definitely not a good driver. I will say that. But...
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying I'm a great driver either. I'm not going to ride for NASCAR anytime soon. But still...
That is aggressive.
A gigantic red vehicle in snow.
Yeah.
And I could see your tiny little fucking Subaru and it was just fine. You had to have seen it. And the fact that I was blaring my horn at him, I was like, is there any awareness about what's surrounding you right now? I'm honking at you, dumbass. Yeah, I don't know.
Nope. Really they just assume that you're going to be the one to stop is what it is, I think. I'm convinced they think that they have the right of way all the time.
Oh my God, it's so annoying. It's like, buddy, you
Yeah.
are coming at me, not the other way around.
Like, I'm going where I need to go, and you're not
Well,
going.
and for a second, I thought it was like one of those situations where he thought he had room to pull out and then would realize that he didn't.
Yeah.
But that didn't seem to be the case when he got 6 inches from my car.
Seems right.
So that was fun. Yeah.
Ugh. I hate driving in the winter, mostly because of other people.
Me too. Definitely me too.
Mm.
Well, you ready for a story?
Yes, ma'am. It's been a while.
I know. Do you remember what we were talking about last time?
Yeah, I just edited it last night. Was it last night or was it the night before? Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
Man, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. All as I know is I had so much time to edit that, and I'm just like, I can't find the ambition to do it.
Sounds about right.
Ugh. I feel so bad because I don't know. Seasonal depression hit me hard. But anyway, yes, I'm ready to.
I love it. My doctor actually upped my Wellbutrin before, because she was like, do you have a history of seasonal depression? I said, yeah, I do.
Doesn't everybody?
Yeah. Isn't that normal? No, apparently it's not.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? But she was like, well, how you doing so far? And I was like, fine. And she goes, I think we're just gonna up your Wellbutrin a little bit before it starts getting into the middle of winter. And I was like,
yeah,
okay. So
yeah.
There's that. So we've been working on that for the last couple of weeks. But yeah, so we're talking about Carl Panzram and the just absolute train wreck of a life that this man led.
Where did we end? I can't even remember.
Let me look here. Was this the second time he had gotten pushed off a train?
Yep. Nope. First time.
I was riding in a boxcar one night in the West.
Nope.
In the West, I was alone and feeling that I would like someone to talk to. I walked over to the train. Oh no, this is the first time. I walked over to the train until I came to an open lumber car. There were 4 big burly bums in it. When I saw them, I told them about the nice warm boxcar I had just left. It was clean and full of straw. They all immediately got interested and friendly and then told me to lead them to it. I did, but I very soon wish I hadn't, because just as soon as we all got into the car and shut the door, the train pulled out. They all began to tell me what a nice boy I was and how they would make me rich. They were going to buy me all the silk underwear in the world, which honestly, silk underwear might be okay.
It depends on the situation. Imagine if you shit your pants in silk underwear. Think about it.
No. That's just slipping and sliding everywhere.
Yep.
That's like a shitty slipping. It's like an actual shitty slip and slide.
It sure is. So you better make sure you're not about to have that accident in your silk underwear.
Yeah, you better really trust that fart.
Oh my god. Oh god, we went off track there again.
Fuck. And I would soon be wearing diamonds as big as baseballs. In fact, they promised me everything in the whole world, but first they wanted me to do a little something for them. And so this is where really, really, really horrific sexual abuse takes place for hours with him, like on him by these men. And when they were all done with him, they just flung him out of a train and he was knocked unconscious. And then obviously another head injury. I believe we talked about that last time too. Like the TBIs on this kid are Guinness Book of World Record level, I think, at this point, honestly. And he's still only a teenager at this point. So
yeah. Ugh.
I wonder how many TBIs he actually had. I don't think they diagnosed him like that, but
probably not.
In the day.
But he was still young, so his brain wasn't even fully formed yet, and he's had how many of them?
Seriously. So obviously it's not going well.
No.
Oh God. Okay, so we're back. with Carl's just life. And like I said I think I said it in the first one, I was going to make it like just his crimes, but then I was reading more about him and I was like, I can't skip out on all of this backstory for him, you know, because it
Yeah.
really leads into how he gets to be the way he is, you
Yeah.
know. So when we left him, like I said, Carl had just been thrown off of the train after spending hours and hours of them just absolutely violently abusing him. And he woke up from being knocked unconscious. He gathered up the few possessions that they had tossed off the train with him, and starts right back up, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
because he's like, okay, well, I got to keep going. So at this point, that evil in him has been pretty well solidified, right? And I mean, I think he's like 16ish now, so he is running out of some of my sympathy because like I said, up until now, I've felt kind of bad for him because he's a kid, but he's kind of running out of my sympathy at this point because he is getting older. So, he said that he had felt that when he was in the train car with these guys, that was the most humiliated and weak he'd ever felt in his life, and he fucking hated that. So he was going to make sure that wasn't happening again, right? So now he's fucking angry and he's pissed, and he's like, nope, we're not doing that again. And now he's going to take that anger and rage and just that monster that's brewing inside of him, and he's going to turn it into everybody else's problem. Okay. So now that he has experienced this, he knows a new way to just be an absolute terrible monster. And that is through sexually assaulting violently.
Oh.
And so now the sexual activity and the evil meanness of these two are combining, which is obviously exactly what you want, right? Violence and sex combining for life and fusing together. That's what you want, right?
I guess it
That's
depends
a good way
on
to
who
start.
you are.
Don't eat my cord, please. It's not good. It's not good. And like I said, he's about to make this everybody's fucking problem. Because he saw how much pleasure and joy the men took in abusing him, and he's like, I want to fucking try that.
Yeah.
So now he gets more cautious about the situations that he's putting himself into. And he is dying to try his hand at the violent rape of others and see what those men found so enjoyable about it. And Carl is, I lied. He's only 14 at this point.
Yeah.
I think we only get to about when he's like 20, I think, by the time I'm done with this part. So we do get quite a bit of gap in here. So Carl's only 14, and he's obviously still healing from the sexual assault. I mean, he was covered in like his own blood and stuff, and all of the men's stuff, and it was so poor kid. He's just beginning to he's still healing, right? Before he could begin executing his own plans of assaulting anybody he could get his hands on, he came across a stable, like a horse stable or a cattle stable, where some other transient men were sitting in it. And these men, he played the poor pitiful kid, I'm a kid, I love Jesus, I'm alone, I have no money card with these men. And they were like, yeah, why don't you come sit with us? Wink, wink, nothing bad is going to happen. Would you like to drink this whiskey with us? And Carl's like, fuck yeah, I do. But I know what's going to happen if I drink too much of it, and I'm not going to let myself be a victim again. So he's trying to baby it at this point, which solid fucking plan, man. First of all, you're only 14, but you've been an alcoholic for 7 years at this point, so whatever. But the wherewithal in his brain to be like, if I only drink a little of this, I can still be in control of the situation. But eventually, one of the younger men that were in the stable sharing with him begins to kind of flirt with him. And he keeps asking Carl about the sexual experiences that he's had, if he's ever had any. And the whole time they're chit-chatting, kind of flirting, he just keeps giving Carl more and more shots of whiskey. Now, obviously, this is going to be a problem.
Yep.
Eventually, he convinces Carl that he's interested in a consensual sexual relationship. And Carl, at this point, was drunk enough now to kind of agree to it. And at this point, this is the part in the movie where everybody's screaming, Carl, don't! Carl! Carl, no! Right.
Yep.
You should have stopped. You were doing good. You were doing okay here, bud. And so now this guy and him wander away from the group. Fabulous. Top notch. And Carl insists that he is going to go first in this consensual sexual encounter. The other guy, not interested in it. Okay, not interested. And he calls over a group of older, larger men. And at the very least, in this situation, Carl is now drunk enough to pass out before he could remember anything that these men did to him. But it was dark when he got there, and it was light when he woke up. So, as you can imagine, it was quite long. Yep. So he did pass out. He was drunk enough to pass out before he remembers anything. So, I mean, okay. And he claims that the hangover headache was worse this time than the pain in his ass. And I gotta think though that the TBI he got from being tossed off a moving train would have also attributed to the headache that he has and not necessarily the hangover. I'm sure he didn't feel great from all the whiskey, but I'm thinking that wasn't the only thing that contributed to that headache of his.
No, I don't think it was just a straight headache. I think it had
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So now he's back on his transient bullshit. But he is now refusing to associate with anybody at all. You know what? 2 real bad encounters right in a row. I'm good for now. I'm great. I don't need to be around anybody else. So he is back to burglarizing, robbery, theft to get food and alcohol. But now he's back on that bullshit. But now he's adding rape to it. Because he wants to see why this is so fun and why people keep doing it to him. And that's just fucking horrific. I should say this episode is going to be very heavy on assault like that. So shut it off right now if that's going to be a problem. And we'll see you later. But there's going to be a lot of it in this episode, unfortunately. So he comes in contact with anybody that he does come in contact. He is violently assaulting, as well as stealing and robbing and just beating the shit out of people everywhere he goes. And so during one of these burglaries, he comes across another gun, and that now only helps him gain control of others even faster. Top notch.
Oh,
so
boy.
Now angry teenage Carl has a gun in his possession, and he begins to overpower pairs of men at this point, and he forces them to sexually assault each other at gunpoint. Once when he's traveling when he was traveling on the trains this way, somebody that was working on the train walks in on Carl violently attacking another man, and instead of stopping, Carl now forces his transient victim to violently sexually assault the train worker. And once he had had enough fun watching, Carl took his turn with both of them. Quote, with a gun in his hand and a sneer on his lips, Carl was fucking his way back to a feeling of power. Oh, Carl.
I don't even I don't even know what to say. That is so aggressive.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it ridiculous?
I'm. Mm. I want to say, how can someone think like that? But judging by how many times he has hit his head or anything along the lines of that.
Or do you recall the botched
Yep,
ear
that's what
surgery
I'm
that
saying.
nicked his noggin? Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, I don't think that we'll ever have an actual answer for Carl's pathology here,
probably not.
aside from what we know of head injuries and stuff like that. So, the timing on this, or the timeline here, gets a little bit confusing, at least to me, because the very first school, the Minnesota Reform School he was at, was in Red Wing.
Yeah.
And so now it's a few years later, and in Carl's writing, he's 14, 15 years old. Um, but when he was 11, he had first went to that school in Red Wing. But now he's also saying that he was either in Red Wing or something, but then he says that he's caught in Butte, Montana, where he was lucky enough to be housed with 50 to 100 grown ass men as a child. And he says that he was there for a month or two, quote, under the name Carl Panzram. And after that month, he was being held in Butte. He says tried and he is tried and sent to the Minnesota or Montana State Reform School in Miles City and stays there for another year. So it's like he's saying that he was either in Red Wing or he was in Butte at this time, but then he's also kind of saying that he was in the Montana Reform School in Miles City, Montana. So it's just like I'm not 100% sure where he's at right now. He's somewhere between Minnesota or Montana, Red Wing, Butte, or Miles City.
Weird.
I don't know.
Confusing.
But he's there for about a year. Yeah. Yeah. I
After
don't
the
know.
train
I
thing?
read. Yes. Yes. Because he gets caught now again because of all of the burglaries and
Oh,
assaults and
so
stuff
they're
that he
like,
was doing. So
you
he gets caught and they send him either to Red
got
Wing,
it.
Butte, or Miles City. I
Makes
don't know.
sense.
I read
Or maybe all of them.
two different yeah, probably. I read both of these books. Like I read that part multiple times in both of those books. I Googled it and I was like, I'm not understanding where this kid is at in this country right now. He's in either Minnesota or Montana. I don't know. So, I'm gonna try to do the very best that I can in this next little part here because uh, I just don't know. So I have like another page or two where it's just he's either in Miles City or Butte or Red Wing, and I have no idea where exactly he's at. So I'm gonna try my best to try to put it together for you, but just keep in mind, I also don't know where the hell he is.
Okay.
So he's either at this time, either he's working in the shoe shop or just trying to escape, whichever school he's in, and he's just getting the shit kicked out of him because he keeps trying to escape. Typical, right?
Yeah.
So here's where it gets even worse because the Ryan Green Kill 'Em All book has absolutely no mention of this time. And his book is pretty inclusive, like it's pretty thorough. And there's no mention of this at all in that book. So when I was reading like around this time from Carl's book to this book, I was like, where the fuck are you? Like, did this whole section just not happen? Are you making this up, Carl? Which I guess I wouldn't put past him, but he's pretty open in his autobiography here, so I gotta believe that there's some truth to it. It doesn't seem like he's trying to hide anything at this point. He knows when he wrote this, he was in jail and he knew he was a fucking monster.
Yeah.
So, and he was getting the death penalty. He does end up, spoiler, he ends up getting the death penalty. But like he mentions a big chunk of this, and the Ryan Green book just has no mention of this at all. So I'm like, what? is happening right here? And like I said, the Ryan Green book is pretty detailed as far as a lot of this stuff goes. So the fact that Carl's book has it and his book, the Kill 'Em All, doesn't, is throwing me off. So Carl's biography at this point then also stops mentioning Montana entirely and goes right back to Red Wing. There's no information about him getting transferred or what happens between him being sent to this school in Butte or being back in Red Wing. There's no mention between here at all. I have no idea.
Weird.
I have no idea what the fuck happened. So maybe Carl got his timeline wrong because of his 35,000 traumatic brain injuries or something. I don't fucking know. So if he was in Montana at that time, there's not a ton of information because basically it says that he was there in Carl's book. There's records that he's there, but then it just goes from that to all of a sudden they both just skip straight to him being incarcerated in Red Wing again. And I have no idea how he goes from one to the other. I don't know. So either way, now I think in Red Wing is where I think it's in Red Wing. He meets a new friend. But
like a real friend?
Could be in Montana. Yeah, actually these guys he does seem to get along.
Okay.
They do seem to get along pretty well. No, not like a sassy friend or anything. No.
Okay.
He does seem to meet like an actual. This friend here seems like the closest thing that he's ever had to a friend.
Okay, so it's not okay.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem like nefarious or anything like that, but this is Jimmy here is the closest thing that Carl has ever had to a friendly relationship in his entire life.
Okay.
So whatever that means in Carl's brain, but
I don't know if I want to know.
Well, okay, so I don't know if he meets Jimmy in Red Wing or in Montana, wherever the hell he's at right now. Could be either. Could be both, honestly. I don't fucking know. This guy. Oh, no. Time out. I gotta let the cat out. He's... Okay. So, like I was saying, he meets this friend named Jimmy Benson, and him and Jimmy get along really well, Jimmy's not quite as much of a monster as Carl, but I don't really think anybody is. But they're actually like actual friends, like I was saying. And so now they're in this school, whichever one it is, concocting scheme after scheme on how to escape at the same time.
Oh, goody.
Because they want to go together and they want to hang out afterwards. So, quote, between the two of us, we concocted a scheme that we could both escape the same day. He was trusted, but I wasn't, so he was to run away first, and while he was gone and all the screws were out chasing him, then I was to blow. We had a prearranged place to hide until the hunt was over, and then we were to meet at another place about 40 miles away. We each done our part, and the scheme worked like a charm. So they both fucking bolted. And then they walked 40 miles. You know what? Good. I don't want to say good on you, Carl, but fuck.
Oh my God. Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive. And he's 14 15 years old.
Yeah, no,
40 miles. I also couldn't tell you what time of year this is. I don't fucking know.
Oh my God.
So anyways, they meet up at this place 40 miles away and they're fucking thrilled with themselves. As one can imagine. If I wandered 40 fucking miles and I made it, first of all, I would get so fucking lost. I'm going to end up in Canada. Like, there's no way I'm making it to a water tower 4 towns over. No. That's not happening.
You can't even make it down your driveway without deciding you're tired and you're turning around.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. I'm gonna make it down to like the end of the tree row and be like, all right,
This is
had enough of
enough.
this. Yeah. So they team back up with each other and they just wander off on their new little journey together. And one of the ways they decide to make money, because they obviously have to make money, is to steal. Obviously.
What
But
else?
they take it a little bit further here, because Jimmy has perfected stealing money from church offering boxes, and he teaches Carl the most effective ways to do that, which top notch. Carl needs that. Just another little tool in his tool belt, I guess. But at some point, that was not enough for either one of them, and they decided to start burning the churches down after they stole all the money.
What the hell?
I'm telling you, this dude's life is too much.
I just don't understand why burning the church came into play.
Destruction? I don't know. Carl likes to destroy things.
That's fair.
But like, I'm telling you, this dude's life is... If you were watching this as a movie, you'd be like, all right, that's... Nobody's gonna do that. Nobody's gonna believe that. No. Carl does. Carl believes it. So eventually they've been working this little scheme for a while, and it's going pretty well. But eventually Jimmy gets arrested because he decided to wander off on his own and try to steal some shit while Carl stayed at their campsite.
He didn't have backup.
So Carl, it took a while, obviously, they don't have cell phones, to figure out that Jimmy's been arrested. And by that time, Jimmy was sent to an adult prison to finish out the sentence that he had run away from, and the new addition of this new crime. And Carl is all alone again. And I don't think he ever sees Jimmy again.
I was going to ask if they ever got back together.
I don't think so. He may mention it like in subsequent episodes or in like the rest of the story, but he's not in this one. So
I suppose though.
He's all alone. Yeah, I don't know if he sees like say an obituary or something in the paper, maybe. I don't know. Okay, so now Carl, he's all on his own again, and he wanders his happy little ass to Fargo, which again doesn't help if he was in Mile City or Red Wing. You gotta get... Fargo would be like a halfway point. And for those of you that don't know, Fargo is right on the river with Minnesota right across from it. It's Fargo-Moorhead, and Moorhead being in Minnesota. So, yeah. And it's right, essentially like smack in the middle, north and south of the state.
Yeah.
So that's where Fargo is. And it's just a shitty fucking town. I try to avoid it as much as I possibly can.
Yeah, it's not a fun town.
But now, since he's in Fargo, he decides he wants to go home for a few days. Back to his farm in East Grand Forks. I don't know how far that is. Hold on. Let me Google, because that's not close either.
It's like 2 hours in a car.
Fargo to East Grand Forks. It is 82 miles. 82 miles. So he is like, I'm in Fargo. I might as well swing by the farm for a few days. Carl. What? Whatever. So he wanders home. Eventually, he's only there for like a day or two. And then he just leaves and wanders around again. What was the point of that? But, whatever. And eventually, he gets tired of this, and he decides, I am going to join the army.
What the
But he
fuck?
decides this. And he signs up for it and gets himself booted over to where he's got to be now. While he is drunk as shit. And he's only 18, so he has to lie about his age. So he doesn't even, like, he gets there and he's like, fuck, I didn't think this through. Right?
No shit.
But he's like, I like guns and violence, so this is a really good way to do that. Right? Guns and violence,
No.
the army, sure.
No. No.
It doesn't last. He's not very happy with it for very long, as you can imagine, because obviously he hates having someone tell him what to do.
Yeah, you think you forgot about that part.
And he was
That's a huge part there,
and
buddy.
he's basically forced to and he was basically forced to be sober because he wasn't being paid like he thought he would be. And he couldn't violently rape anybody, especially because most of the other soldiers were adults of age and they were bigger and fucking stronger than a 15-year-old who is not used to being sober.
Yep.
Stupid Carl. So, Carl gets so frustrated and he is so over it. And naturally, what does he do? He starts sneaking off base. And he gets caught. And because of some of the other things he was doing off of base, he is sent to the U.S. military prison in Port Leavenworth, Kansas. Is it Port or Fort? I thought it was Fort. I don't remember. Is it Fort Leavenworth?
Oh, would think so. But then again, what do I know?
It feels like it should be Fort.
It should be Fort, yeah.
But give me a sec. Yeah, okay, it is Fort. I don't know why I wrote Port. Either way. So it's Fort Leavenworth in Kansas. And he's there for 3 years. Naturally, the instant Carl gets there, he's starting to plan on how he's going to escape custody once again. Problem is, though, because Carl is such a little shit, his punishments are basically out of the hands of his direct superiors. And they had to be sent all the way to the top. So every fucking time he needed to be punished, his direct superiors are like, this little fucking kid. And they have to send it all the way to the top. Well, you know what the top is? Secretary of War under President Theodore Roosevelt, William Howard Taft himself. So now William Howard Taft is in charge of Carl's fucking punishments. And it doesn't take very long for William Howard Taft to also be done with his bullshit.
Do they know how old he is yet?
I'm not 100% sure. I really don't know. He is there for 3 years, so maybe they're like, oh shit, he's fucking 18 now. We've had him here for 3 years. I don't fucking know. I don't know if they know how old he is. I don't know if they ever find that out.
I didn't think with his criminal record he could even join the army, but what do I know? But they probably didn't even know who he actually was.
I was gonna say, and it's like the early 1900s. Like it's like 1907, so it's not like they have commercial like computers or anything where you can just like easily look it up or something. So I suppose you gotta just kind of go with what they tell you. You know,
I guess, yeah.
I'm not sure. But William Howard Taft does not take very long before he has also had enough of this fucking kid. And he takes one look at Carl's file and decides that it is time to make an example out of him. Which Carl is thrilled about, right? Okay, I'm going to say that in a little bit here, though. 16-year-old Carl enters Fort Leavenworth prison, and as always, he refuses to show any sort of weakness. He refuses to join any of the main prison gangs, which unfortunately did lead him into multiple encounters with fellow prisoners who would, again, brutally rape him. And Carl is obviously just fine. He's not going to let these people win, and they start to get bored of assaulting him because he's refusing to, like, interact, you know?
Yeah.
Like, when he was younger in the Catholic school, Lutheran school, where he's just getting the shit kicked out of him, and
Yeah, he just let it
he's just not
happen.
making a noise. So
Yeah.
yeah, so they start getting bored of assaulting him, so they all kind of gave up on it, which I mean, yeah, good, I guess. And you know that if he's pissing other inmates off by refusing to let them win, you just know the guards are also struggling even more with him. Because as per usual, he is subjected to a ton of punishment while he is serving his time, and one of the favorite punishments was to, are you ready for this? Strap him into a straitjacket and then to keep tightening it until he lost consciousness. And this one was nearly every single day for Carl.
Something tells me he liked it.
And problem for the guards, though, the other inmates saw his defiance as something that was inspiring, which meant they also started to stand up against the guards in order to, quote, protect Carl.
Oh, no, that's not good.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, William Howard Taft is making an example of him for all these other little fucking hooligans. And Carl, this is kind of funny though. Quote, 14 years later, I had the very good fortune to rob him of about $40,000 worth of jewelry and Liberty bonds. So eventually, William Howard Taft is going to come back.
Ooh.
And I am really excited to get to that part. We don't get there today, but I'm really excited to get to that part because that's quite a funny story. That's actually one of the things that made me really interested in this guy, because this just so he is a terrible person. This is solid now. There's no going back for him. No amount of therapy is going to help. But he's starting to get to that older teenage years, so he's running out of sympathy for me. So now, you know what a cartoon version of a literal ball and chain looks like, right? They strap the thing to your ankle, and then you have to walk with the chain and the ball. So they actually hook Carl up to that. That's a real fucking thing, apparently. And they made him march 4 miles out to the closest rock quarry, forced him to work 9+ hours a day, and then made him march all the way back with this cartoon-ass ball and chain hooked to his ankles. Mm-hmm. And so, as you can imagine, Carl is very happy about this punishment. But he takes it in stride, as he always does. And by the end of the first year that he's there, he is now even stronger because he's been dragging this fucking cannonball 4 miles, and then he's working in a rock quarry.
I was gonna
for 9+ hours a day.
Imagine.
So now he's even stronger.
Your legs just have to be like tree trunks at that point, because holy cats.
Honestly. And like I said, he's like 16, 17 years old at this point, and that is a prime time for growing a shitload of muscle mass really fucking quick for boys. So,
what a dangerous thing.
Yeah, you're really setting yourself up for failure here, guards.
Yep.
So he's even stronger and angrier than fucking ever now. And when the guards struck him, they were more likely to break their batons than see any actual effect on Carl.
I believe that.
Yeah, because he's just a fucking beast. You know, I mean, with all the hard work he's already had to do in his life, you know, he's already fucking ripped.
Yep.
And now they've just made it worse for themselves. You put a fucking chain on his leg and told him to walk. Well, guess what? There's nothing good from this situation that's going to come to you, guards. Nothing good is happening here for you.
You aren't teaching him a lesson at all. He's still going to continue. No. He's had worse done to him. You don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But now he has a boatload of muscle that he's going to use against you. So, good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And like I said, they use the batons or the bats on him, and they just break their fucking batons, and he's just like, and? Was that supposed to hurt? Like,
you know, maybe I need to do that as a workout.
So this guy, man, his life it's a cartoon. It's a movie. Like, there's no way this is real, but it fucking is.
I'm not convinced yet.
I promise you this is real.
I'm just kidding.
It's not like that haunted house that I told you about that one time.
So mad at you
what
about
was that? The Congealier house. If you want to hear Chelsea get really, really angry at me, go back to episode.
Oh gosh, I don't even know.
Let me look it up. Hold on.
What, like 3?
Let me look it up. 7. Episode 7, the Congealier house. Chelsea screams at me, so make sure you pull your headphones out or turn the volume down near the end there.
Wasn't my fault.
All right. So I promise Carl is real, even though it really seems hard to believe. So Carl now begins to go after those who had made him a victim of their terrible assaults on him. Because obviously now he's really fucking strong. So basically he was allowed to just be a monster with a captive victim pool.
Oh.
And he's ready to start seeking revenge for all of the people in the prison that had, when he first got there, had started victimizing him. And he's about to make them a victim of his now. So he goes on a fucking rampage. He does eventually leave the prison in Fort Leavenworth in 1910, and he goes back into society as a fully formed monster ready to wreak havoc wherever he goes. So now he's 19 and massive. He's over 6 feet tall, 200 pounds of just pure muscle. And he's 19. He's in phenomenal fucking shape. Which is... So he starts back on his hobo bullshit and goes town to town. What?
Oh, his hobo bullshit. I mean, that's a solid way of putting it.
Well, yeah, right. So he's going town to town to town on the fucking trains again and on his way to Denver. Along the way now, he is much less worried to come across someone who means him harm. Because after all of the previous abuse he had gone through, he knew exactly what he was going to do. And so he began to violently just rape these men as he come across them. Just anytime he came across somebody. And now I'm going to say, because obviously this was so long ago, records are spotty at best, and obviously men reporting assaults like this is still underreported today. It's certainly not going to be reported that they're being victimized, 100 years ago, as much as they were definitely victims. So the exact number is something that we will likely never know. But both Carl and experts estimate that throughout his life, he committed more than 1,000 acts of rape and sodomy against young boys and men.
What the fuck?
Yeah, both Carl and the experts that talked to him when he was in prison, everybody that's like the criminology, all of that. Yeah, it's over 1,000 acts of rape and sodomy.
That is...
Yeah.
I
was gonna ask if you wanted to guess how many, but I don't think you were gonna.
No, there's no way. I don't even think I know 1,000 people.
I don't think Carl knew him either. To be fair,
you're not wrong, but wow.
Yeah. So over his criminal career, which is his entire life, essentially, they believe that it's well over 1,000. I
think he made his point.
So, like I said, he is making this everybody else's fucking problem. He claimed till his dying breath that he was not gay. Although, but because he said men were typically more dangerous to him and women were, quote, dirty or unclean. Ask me why he has this opinion of women.
I think we both know.
So he's on his way to Denver. And Carl rapes a woman
Oh
who
God, there's
had.
an actual reason.
There's an actual reason. Yeah. Yeah.
Whoops.
I definitely do think that Carl had some really deep seated. I do think
Yeah.
he was gay, but
Yeah.
really,
But
really,
I think
especially at the time, I think that it was
it was,
so difficult to even admit it to yourself.
yeah, it wasn't
So,
accepted. So I mean, at
no.
that point, you
So,
don't. Yeah.
yeah. And so I do think that he was gay, or at the very least, he was bisexual, I think. Although, granted, obviously, I can't
Yeah.
really talk about it really for sure, but I do think that that was the case. So, on the way to Denver here,
Oh boy.
Carl rapes a woman who managed to give him, quote, one hell of an. Oh, no shit. What did he. What? Fuck. I wrote the quote down wrong. I wrote the quote down wrong. Hold on. Okay. So, on the way to Denver, Carl rapes a woman. And he says, quote, the worst was yet to come about a week later when I found that my collection, which is just what he called like the belongings that he had, the very few belongings that he had. My collection was also included a fine first class case of gonorrhea. I began to suspect that the ladies were very good things to leave alone. Yep.
Well, he learned his lesson.
Yeah, so now his wiener is also pissed. Pissed.
Karma's a bitch.
Yeah, really though. Not to get too graphic, but I guess it was real swollen and draining pus and blood. Yeah. Yeah, so he decides men are the way to go after that. And you know what? Honestly, if that happened to me, I would probably call that a sign too.
I would maybe not.
Take a second on assaulting more people.
I was just gonna say
Does
I
he?
would probably
No.
stop for a long
The only
forever.
reason he stops assaulting people is because it fucking hurts now.
I'm honestly surprised he didn't find another way of doing it though.
Well, now he goes to the doctor to get medicine. And before his wiener heals back up from this infection,
Oh, God.
he's thrown into jail for stealing a bike.
A bike out of everything.
A bike. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he figured he could get out of Denver faster if he had a bike, which he's not wrong, I suppose. But his wiener, can you imagine your wiener being all swollen and
riding a bike?
And on a bike? Ugh. And so he goes to jail again. Naturally. Because Carl is only out of jail for. I mean, he's not out of jail for that fucking long. Before he's back in jail for this fucking bike thing. Or he's not out of like the military prison for very long. Before he's back in jail for stealing a fucking bike.
Yeah, but I feel like when he was in the military prison, they didn't go by his actual name.
I think that he does use a ton of aliases, but I think because he joined the military, I do think he used his his real name.
So they should have had a history of him. I'm just so confused by that, to be honest.
Well, they don't have computers, or it's not like they're.
But they should still have.
As transient as he is, it's like who do you even call to get anybody's records? All he has to do is say, "Well, yeah, no, I've never been to Denver before. I've never been to North Dakota. I've never been to Minnesota." So why would they even think like they have no way to? There's no central database or something. You know what I mean?
I thought maybe they would have access to like the police records or something.
I'm sure they had some sort of system. I just don't know what it is.
It's just
1910.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm overthinking that, but I am. But anyway.
Yeah. I'm sure they have some sort of system. I just don't know what the hell they could possibly I can't get anywhere without my fucking phone and my Google Maps. So
seriously, same.
Let's be real here. I don't really know how much the world worked without my technology, computers, like databases. So he's in jail for stealing this bike. And while he is in jail, he meets a man who was there for being a safecracker during a bank robbery. Well,
I honestly, for a second there, I was gonna ask you what the hell a safecracker is, and then I thought about it.
Chelsea.
You said bank robbery, and that's what made it click.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's why I added the bank robbery part, because I wrote safecracker down, and I was like, this sounds ridiculous, but I couldn't come up with like a different way to say
cracker of the safes.
Cracker of the safes. Yeah, that doesn't make sense either. Makes less sense, I would think. So Carl likes this quite a lot because he thinks, now this is quite a skill that I could learn. Safe cracking, breaking into safes now. That is a skill I would like to learn, and clearly he knows how to do it. And this man, who we don't know who he is, the man liked how big and scary Carl could be to the other prisoners there. So he had no problem hanging out with Carl, and Carl had no problem hanging out with him. So Carl kept him safe because nobody was going to fuck with him at this point, and he taught him how to break into safes, which is obviously, like I said, another handy skill Carl has tucked away in the back of his noggin.
The annoying part is he's so smart, but so dumb.
Smart. So he's so smart. He's so smart. And if he had just hadn't had 200 brain injuries, I think
that's the thing.
Well, I mean, he grew up with really abusive parents as well. So, I mean, but
well, yeah. But I mean, like, he's had how many brain injuries, and he's definitely smarter than me, and I haven't had any.
Right?
What's wrong with me?
Well, maybe you need a botched surgery when you're 7 to nick your noggin. I don't know. Gross. I don't know. I don't think that's a good thought. I don't think that's a good way to go. Don't do that.
No, we're not going to give that out as advice.
So, Carl now in jail, he is busy learning about how to crack safes and stuff. And he is so busy learning it that he caused absolutely no problems and was actually quickly released from jail. Carl, for the first time ever, was not done learning about the safe cracking from this man. So the very night he was released, he broke back into the jail so that his new friend could continue to teach him how to break into a safe. And now, obviously, he's caught very quickly. And
well, I would assume so.
And now they're like, okay, 1 more month. You have to stay here for a whole month for breaking back into a jail. And that's exactly what he fucking wanted. Because now he had all the time in to learn all he wanted to about this fucking safe cracking thing.
They didn't question as to why he broke into a jail?
Doesn't seem like it, no.
Nor
did they try to keep Carl and his new friend here separated. It doesn't seem.
Well, they probably didn't know what the heck was going on.
So then, while Carl is in there, this safe cracking friend decides that he is feeling that there might be a mutual attraction between the two of them. And so one day, while he is teaching Carl these lessons about breaking into safes, he tries to kiss Carl.
Oh boy.
Well, Carl does not realize that at this point he doesn't know what consent is anymore. He has no idea. So he doesn't realize that this man is trying to, quote unquote, consensually start a relationship with him. And Carl does not
show him affection.
That. Yeah, and Carl, show him affection. Carl doesn't even know what that is.
He doesn't know what that is, no.
So he has no idea. So he takes it, obviously, as a threat.
You know what? I'm going to take notes. Next time somebody kisses me, I'm going to take it as a threat.
Michael, watch out.
Just smack.
Well, okay. But see, here's the thing that I think that you and Carl may differ in is your approach here, because he beats the shit out of this guy, obviously.
Yeah.
Violently rapes him
Nope.
for like for
Okay, well,
hours.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, and then Carl's released from jail because apparently he is able to violently attack another inmate in this
What
jail
the
for
fuck?
hours. And once he finished serving his time, they just plopped him back out. Obviously, his um, safe cracking buddy and the lessons immediately ended.
I don't know why.
Yeah, right. Because that guy didn't want anything to do with him anymore. And Carl was like, all right, well, I've had enough of it. And he walked out when he was released.
They did they not know about any of that?
You know, it feels like they should have, but it doesn't seem like it, no.
No, I'm
Mm-mm.
assuming that went under the rug, under
Went
the
under the
radar,
radar,
or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. How you can do that for
Wow.
hours, though, in a jail is beyond me.
They could have been inmates, or they're not cellmates. Sorry, cellmates.
Well, yeah, no. They were, but like without a guard hearing anything or anybody being like, hey, this is not good. We don't, somebody stop them. Like hearing
Well,
the other man
they may not
screaming.
have, unless he wasn't screaming, because then Carl would have made it worse. You know?
I don't, yeah, I think he was screaming because you would have to because he's not Carl, who doesn't scream at all.
Yeah, but if you're threatened to, if you scream, then
Yeah, I don't
if
know.
you scream, I'm gonna kill you, kind of thing.
I don't know. Feels like some of the guards maybe should have been making some rounds or something in that time.
You would think so.
Yeah. So he leaves this tiny little jail in Denver and he starts to make his way back to Kansas. Why he would go back to Kansas after being in that prison or that military prison for 3 years, beyond me. Whatever. But he does. So he's like, I'm going back to Kansas. And he's obviously the whole way there. He's stealing, fighting, assaulting, and burning more churches down the entire way. Because of course. Yeah, so we've got theft, assault, sexual assault, arson. I mean, there's nothing that this guy won't do. And so in Kansas, shortly after he gets to Kansas, he's like, I'm going to settle here for a minute, and I think I'm going to get a job. And so,
Okay.
So he comes across, and I swear to God, this is the name of it. He comes across the Colonel Dickey's Circle D Wild West show. And he is working at Colonel Dickey's Circle D Wild West show for about a week.
That's such a long name.
It's such a weird Colonel Dickey Circle D Wild West show. It's
Where's the Circle D from?
fabulous question.
Because you could stick with the first part and last part and smoosh it together.
Or you could
and 86
Wild West show. You could do either one.
Something.
He's Wild West show, Circle D Wild West show, either one. But both of them feels like a lot. Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was a co-ownership and they couldn't decide on what to go with, so they just all together.
Right. Yeah, probably. So he lasts about a week there before he's fired for being an absolute fucking menace. And actually mostly because so he was kind of like security-ish when he was there. He was part of the show also in little like snippets, but he was like a lot of it was like working kind of security, sort of, beating the shit out of people when they were fucking around, which was fine because that's what he liked to do. But then he would work with the animals sometimes, and he was not very nice to the horses, unfortunately. So that's why he got fired, because they were like, you know what, you're not fucking with our animals. You're not doing that.
Nah. No.
And so they fired him. And now Carl took this rejection very well and just went along his merry way, right? No, he fucking didn't. Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely
I was
not.
like,
He stole from the cook's tent a bunch of oil and lit the
no.
thing to the ground. Yeah, lit the thing on fire. Lit the whole thing, the whole place on fire. And then he wandered away as it was burning and went up and found himself a nice little cliff to sit and enjoy the show from, where he could hear the chaos, which included hearing all the people yelling and trying to put it out, but also he could hear, and I'm really, really sorry for this, all of the animals being burned alive.
Yeah.
And he was just having the time of his life. And unfortunately, none of the animals survived.
That was his goal.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, it was because he was fired for being mean to them. So he's like, you want me to be fucking mean to them?
Let it go.
Yeah.
Well,
buckle
I
up,
can do
buttercup.
worse.
Yeah. So I am almost done with this part because this is 4 years here and this is an hour and a half. I think I'm going to do I think I'm going to have 2 more episodes.
Okay.
Because he doesn't last. He's only 19 at this point, and he's this much of a menace. We're 3 episodes in, and I've already spoiled it by telling you he gets the death penalty. Let's be real here. We both know he's not living into old age.
No.
So
He's already been in jail how many times? Eventually someone's going to catch on.
honestly, one of these, like, I want to, like, find, like, just a list of all of the charges that he's ever been charged with and all of the jails and all of, like, how much time did he spend in prison versus free?
I'd be curious.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to find some sort of, like, statistic like that. I don't know if I'll be able to, because good God, who could keep track?
Yeah, well, and then he went by how many different names, too.
Yeah, I think by the end of it, he had 7 or 8 aliases that he used. It could be more.
Dang it.
But yeah, he has quite a few. He has quite a few. So, quote, then I went over to where the Kansas State militia soldiers were camped and stole one of their tents and was carrying away some sacks of oats and grains when the sentry caught me. But he was only a tin soldier and a kid at that. So I took his rifle, and threw it in the horse trough. I was going to throw him after it when about 9,000 more came running to his rescue.
9,000 more.
I think he might be exaggerating a little bit, but, like, honestly, Carl. Yeah, so Carl is like, no, we're not fucking doing this. So he gets right the fuck out of there, and he goes to St. Louis. And so in St. Louis, he gets a job for the Chicago and Eastern Illinois and the Illinois Central Railroad. And he is, again, basically security, again, at this point. And so he was like, this is going to be fine, right? And another part of his job was to help break up the strikes that were happening along the railroad. And he's like, fantastic. He gets to get paid for beating the shit out of people. And he was actually so successful at it that they sent him to a different location where even worse people were at.
Oh, goody.
Yeah. So there are, essentially, at this point in time, there are 2 different types of, like, strike breakers being employed. The more official kind, they were known as scabs. And they were willing to work the job of the men who were on strike. So they just kind of took over the, like, productivity loss. Right? So these guys are striking out there. Job's still getting done. And they were getting paid basically the same as the strikers at that point in time. And all of these picket lines are just like the strikers are out there trying to intimidate or get the scabs to not go and do these jobs, right? You don't want to fucking work here, basically. Well, and then the other kind of strikers, or the other kind of strike breakers, I'm sorry, were the black legs, and this is Carl. This is Carl.
Okay.
Good job, Carl. So he gets some cash, and the quote, the job of the blacklegs was to charge the picket line and beat the striking workers into submission. Raw violence was the order of the day, and it was there that Carl accelerated. While other blacklegs worked in squads against the overwhelming number of strikers, Carl could just wade in with his fists swinging. He was impervious to any feeble defense that the picket line could muster, plowing through them like a wild bull and roaring like the same. After his time in prison, he knew that he was a powerful man, but this cemented the realization of his own physical prowess in his mind. This wasn't brawling, it was outright warfare, and Carl could hold his own against a small army.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So now he knows he's fucking strong.
Yep.
Because he's had to prove it now. Like, he knew he was strong, but now with fighting all of these people,
He has the proof.
And getting paid for it. Yeah, and getting paid for it. He has proof, and he's getting fucking paid. He's like, this is a fucking dream job.
Yep. Which is dangerous.
Naturally,
for him
he doesn't
knowing that.
Oh, yeah, because he already knows he's strong.
Yep.
This is a fucking nightmare.
Yep.
So, between all of the people in his life up until this point, except maybe Jimmy, his one friend, every single person that he has ever come across is either teaching him how to be violent and praising him for it, or
the exact opposite.
They're turning him into a they're turning him into a victim, and he's like, fuck that. And they're making him angry. And now, like, violence and sex and money and violence and just
alcohol.
All of this, it's all alcohol, and just being a transient where nobody knows your name, so you're basically allowed to do what the fuck ever you want. He knows how to successfully get into people's houses. He knows successfully how to steal the church money. He's very good at setting fires.
Clearly.
And he's 20 years old. Like, he is, and now he knows that he can take a small army. With his fucking hands, with his bare fucking hands. He doesn't need any help.
Nope.
This is a recipe for fucking disaster.
Yeah.
And so Carl, going and swinging, is going to be where we end this episode. And then the next episode, I'm going to try and get through like a good chunk. And I know this is really long because for the last couple parts here, the first part specifically, I wanted to make his childhood very apparent and then, just kind of go from there. And it's just so much freaking information. So I'm sorry that this is like a long series. And I'm trying to keep out as much as I can, but like, there's just so much stuff. If I had left out the fact that he had been wandering around in a ball and chain like a cartoon character for a year, you would have, and you found that out later, you would have been like, why the hell didn't you mention that?
Yeah.
And it's just, there's so much happening that I feel like I have to make it long,
Yeah, no, I think it's good. This is interesting versus just learning about what they've done.
Yeah, so now that Carl is going to be in and out of jail for the rest of these episodes, like, that's inevitable.
Yeah.
But from now on, it's going to be more about his crimes versus the crimes that were committed against him.
Yeah.
Like, as a child. So it's going to be, we're going to start really getting into the crimes that he's going to commit in the next episode. And if you thought 1,000+ acts of rape and sodomy was a lot, buckle the fuck up, baby. That we're just beginning. Like, we're just getting into like his like the crimes that he's going to commit.
Oh God.
Yeah. So, plus, I always like listening to multi-part episodes because they keep me busy for longer.
Yeah, and like I said, it's nice to have all the information about that person that you're learning. Learning. You get to hear what they've done versus going straight into hearing all the bad stuff and not what happened before.
Yeah, and like I said, from now on, it's really gonna start ramping up his actual crimes.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the crimes that he's going to commit would be quite as shocking without all of the backstory behind him as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's been to all of these schools. He's been violently assaulted on numerous occasions. He's been in prison. He's been in jail. He's escaped. He's, like I said, he's cemented violence and sex in his head. He's cemented violence and money in his head, alcohol. He's been an alcoholic since he was 7. Like, it just all feels like it really contributes to who he is as a person and why he keeps accelerating in just the level of chaos and violence that he leaves in his tracks. So, our next episode, we're really going to ramp up for his crimes now.
Okay.
I can't believe it's like episode 4 and we're only barely getting to his crimes.
Yeah.
Minus like the, his burglaries and stuff like that. But
he's insane.
These are going to be the bigger ones. Isn't it wild? This man lives rent-free in my fucking dome.
He is.
Man. Ever since I first heard about him, I was like, this isn't fucking real.
You know what? He kind of reminds me of Frank Gallagher, but like in a more aggressive way.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
I mean, like he randomly goes home,
living his life,
and then leaves, gets drunk, wanders around, goes home, ends up in jail,
does whatever he can to make a buck. I do think that Frank Gallagher probably has less sexual assaults.
I'm saying he's more aggressive. Like he has like that.
Outside of
nomad situation.
Yep. Yeah. Nomad. Like a very nomadic lifestyle. Yeah.
0 fucks. Yeah.
0. Not a fuck has been given by Carl since the day he
ever
came up from the pits of hell.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally ever.
Yeah. It's fucking outrageous. So.
All right.
Yeah. I can't wait to start telling you more about this chaos.
I know.
That he leaves in his tracks.
In a weird way, I'm like excited, but like scared.
It's weird to be excited about it, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look at how much I've... Hold on. I'm going to show you this real quick. Because I've been handwriting these, right? This much paper is Carl.
Oh my God.
Just this. This is Carl. This is 3 other stories here. Maybe 4 stories. This is 4 stories. This is Carl.
Oh my God. That's nuts.
And it's no wonder William Howard Taft got so fucking fed up with him that he's like, no, you're going to be a fucking example. And they just beat the shit out of him in that jail. Because Taft is like, fuck this kid. I don't know. It's no wonder. It's no wonder.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's part 3 of the tragic life of Carl Panzram. Is that what we're calling him? What episode? What did we name these episodes?
I did the creation of, and then I have
the creation of Carl Panzram, part 1.
Yeah, and then go part 2, part 3.
Yep. Yeah. So it's just, I don't know. It seems like there's no end in sight, really, and he's 20.
That's insane.
I'm not going to tell you how much longer he makes it.
Please don't, because I don't want it ruined.
I do have at least 2 more episodes, so
it's good. All right.
Well, and that was Mom Needs a Minute. And follow us on all the things.
Yep. We all know that everyone shuts it off at that point when you tell everybody where to go.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
I'm done. You know.
You know the drill.
You know.
You know the drill.
Yep. All right. Bye.